That little, wait a minute, where? Near, A14, isn't that into that, and near little spots
I didn't think my day could upgrade anymore, but you broke the gavel.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Board of Commissioners meeting for April 14th, 2016. Can we have a roll call, please?
Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here. Commissioner Luker, President Commissioner Luker is excused for tonight. We'll stand for a Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make a brief announcement. Board of Commissioners held an executive session on Monday, April 4th, 2016, 6:30 p.m., relating to personnel matters. We'll start with we have a few presentations this evening. First, we'll start with Commissioner Gillespie. She has two presentations.
It's always exciting when I have Eagle Scouts. We have two this evening from Troop 48. And first I have Jacob Wysocki. Where are you, Jake? Oh, back there. Come on up. This was already presented at his wonderful luncheon that you had on Sunday, but we like to present it in front of the whole board. Okay, Jacob. Proud community salutes you in attaining the Eagle Scout rank in the Boy Scouts of America. You have earned assorted merit badges which attest to your leadership qualities and your contribution to the community. Your chosen project was an important undertaking for Abington Township. Your recently completed project resulted in community beautification of planting basswood trees in Cressmont Park and elm trees at the Ardsley Community Center. The hours you spent in organizing and leading a team that dedicated hours in landscape improvements will benefit the community for many years. We, the Board of Commissioners, join Boy Scout Troop 48, your family, community leaders, friends, and fellow troop members in congratulating you on this milestone. Congratulations. Chris and Ray, want to stand up? We know the parents also are so supportive and to help you get to where you are. What are your plans?
Like in general?
Not this evening.
You mean like to go to Penn State and major in physics?
Wow. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wow. Congratulations, Ray and Chris. James Curry. Hey, James. Here we go. This is the first time James got this award. He was not able to make it Sunday. So a proud community salutes you in attaining the Eagle Scout rank in the Boy Scouts of America. You have earned assorted merit badges, which attest to your leadership qualities and your contribution to the community. Your chosen project was an important undertaking for Abington Township. Your recently completed project resulted in mapping out and surveying the Ardsley Wildlife Sanctuary. The hours you spent in updating data to Google Maps and making it accessible online, good for you, and on mobile devices will benefit the community and the Friends of Ardsley Wildlife Sanctuary Group for many years to come. We, the Board of Commissioners, join Boy Scout Troop 48, your family, community leaders, friends, and fellow troop members in congratulating you on this milestone. We wish you continued success and further fulfillment in the years to come. Congratulations, James. James Curry's mom is back here, and he is the second Eagle Scout in the family, Kelly. And Kelly is a mom of four. She has raised these young men by herself. She's done an excellent job, and she's got 2 more kiddos at home. So congratulations. What are your plans?
I am joining the Marine Corps.
Good for you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gillespie. Next, I'll call on Chief Kelly for accommodation for Detective Bob Almond for retirement.
Mr. President, members of the board, we are here to honor one of our retirees, Detective Bob Almond, who is going to be retiring after 30 years of service with our police department. His most recent assignment was with the Abington High School, where they did a very nice honoring of him just on Monday, and we're very happy to have with us this evening Mr. Angelo Barrios, the principal of the high school, who would like to say just a couple words regarding Bob and his assignment with the school district.
Good evening. Congratulations to the Eagle Scouts. On behalf of Dr. Sickle, the students, staff, and administration of Abington Senior High School, I'm honored to make a few remarks to commemorate and celebrate the career and retirement of Detective Robert Almond. The true essence of Bob is virtually impossible to convey in a few minutes. However, I shall try my best. One of the great privileges of being the principal of a large suburban high school is I get to meet and interact with a wide array of people. However, I can say with conviction, Bob was truly special, for he possesses immeasurable charisma and is a remarkable human being in many ways. In fact, there aren't enough positive adjectives to describe him. As you can imagine, this is a bittersweet moment for all of us in this room who are joining in the celebration of Bob's long and distinguished career. Bob has been a mentor, confidant, and friend, but most importantly, in my opinion, an advocate for students. This is evidenced by his years spent working in very challenging situations in our community, conversely, working with challenging situations at Abington Senior High School. One of the things I most admire about Bob is how committed he is to our students, his coworkers, and most importantly, his family. Bob's dedication also transcends into his vocation each summer, wherein he and his family volunteer at a camp in upstate New York. He's done so for the past 12 years. Bob and his family have devoted an inordinate amount of time to running the camp, often relinquishing opportunities for vacations elsewhere. At work and in all facets of his life, Bob always went above and beyond the call of duty. The health, welfare, and safety of Abington Senior High School was paramount for Bob. For this, he will be fondly remembered and truly missed by the students he reached and the faculty and staff who had the privilege to work alongside him. Thank you very much, and good luck, Bob.
Next, I would like to just recognize and ask to stand up the founding president of Citizens and Police Together, Butch Beal, and the current president of CAPT, Adam Reif. And CAPT was an organization that Bob helped found back in the early 90s, Citizens and Police Together, to help fund the many proactive and innovative youth programs that they were coming up with. And over the 22 years that it has existed, have generated approximately $800,000 that have gone into youth programming in our township that would not have been, either would have not been provided or would have required tax dollars to if they were to do them. I'd like to ask them to stand for just a moment, Adam Reif and Butch Field. And Commissioners, you may know that their latest project of Citizens and Police Together is that they are providing the newest traffic safety signs for our next traffic safety blitz. Is being funded completely by Citizens and Police Together, and they have with them just a model of the sign, one of the signs that you'll be seeing around our township, funded totally by Citizens and Police Together. I know it's something near and dear to all of our commissioners' hearts, the traffic safety. Thank you very much. Bob has had an incredible career. He lives in the Glenside section of our township with his wife, Debbie. He began his career in 1986 when we stole him from another police department, and the chief actually called me and asked me not to take him because he was such an important part of their department at the time. And he came on our department. He served as a foot patrol officer in Crestmont and the Roslyn community, where he did some amazing things during a very difficult time period during the cocaine problems that were occurring. And it was just amazing. Was our first foot patrol officer and did amazing work in those communities. He was assigned to the Detective Division in 1998. He was a member of the Crisis Negotiation Unit of the Police Department and the Commendation Review Board. He served as a DARE officer at Glenside Weldon School, at Roslyn School, and at the Meadowbrook Elementary Schools over the years, as well as being the school resource officer at both the junior high and the senior high school. He was, as I said, a founding member of the Citizens and Police Together. We made the mistake of sending him away to a training program in Florida when he was early on, and he came back with this crazy idea about a 24-hour relay challenge. We all looked at him and said, "Are you absolutely out of your mind?" But of course we know that for the last 20 years it has occurred and become a rite of passage for many of our students in our schools, and has also been the primary fundraiser for the Citizens and Police Together. And they have just about gotten to the point where they have forgiven me for sending you away to that school, Bob, because of all the good things you've done. In addition to that, Bob helped to institute the Rockathon at the school district, the Wild Dare graduation that many of you have seen. Bob was involved with that. Citizens and organization of police or citizens and youth and adults together, and many of the other things, that innovative programs that have been, you've seen, that have been there strictly for the purpose of deterring our youth from crime, drugs, and violence, and obviously has done a great job in that regard. You'll remember that last year after we saw the problems in Ferguson and so on, the President came out and said that police departments should consider trying that innovative program called community policing. But Bob Almond and Sergeant George Meglish actually implemented our community policing program and began it back in 1992. And it's been going on ever since then. And since then, Bob has literally been all over the state in many locations across the United States and even Canada and beyond, training other departments in community policing. That's how highly regarded a job that they did when they implemented it here in Abington Township. Obviously, there are many things that I can say about Bob and the great work that he has done. He's won 3 awards that I think are certainly worth mentioning. He received a Class 2 commendation for bravery. It is the highest award the Abington Police Department has ever given. Since to receive a Class 1, you only receive that posthumously. So it is the highest award for bravery. It's only given out to a few members of the department. And he received it for saving a drowning child in the raging Sandy Run Creek during a torrential rainstorm. Some of you know how bad that creek gets to be during a torrential rainstorm. The child was drowning, and Officer Almond dove into the water with all that gear and equipment that the officers carry and wear, and tried to stay afloat and tried to do it, and actually saved the child from drowning and received our highest award for bravery. In addition, one award that he has won that no other Abington officer, and I'm quite positive no other officer ever in Montgomery County has ever won, is he actually won the 10 best police officers in America. In America. And it was an award that he received a number of years ago. Usually the recipients are people who have been involved in life-threatening shootouts, but Bob was brought down to the International Association of Chiefs of Police Conference in Florida to receive that award as one of the 10 best police officers in America for the work that he had done implementing innovative youth programs. And you'll recall that several years ago, the police department won the International Association of Chiefs of Police Community Policing Award, and when we did, we became the first police department ever in Pennsylvania to win that award, and only one of 4 police departments in the world to win that award. And when we submitted the information on that, many of the things that we put in there and programs that we talked about, both community policing and youth prevention programs, were programs that Bob Almond implemented. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you a retiring detective, Robert Almond. If I could ask Vice President Klein and Director of Public Safety, Lori Schreiber, to come down and present the commendation from the Township Board of Commissioners.
Okay. It's to you, Detective Bob Almond, to acknowledge with sincere appreciation your 30 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Abington Township, August 25th, 1986 through April 15th, 2016. Congratulations. We're going to miss you. Thank you very much.
So one thing about having a great police department for such a long time is that sooner or later you have to watch those who have helped to make it such a great police department retire. And with all the work that you've done, I hope you enjoy your retirement. On behalf of the entire board, it's well deserved. So thank you.
Thank you all very much. Let me introduce my family who is here with me this evening. First off, my parents, Bob and Judy Almond, my beautiful wife who has made all of this possible. While I'm out doing all of this, she's keeping our family in order and just supporting me throughout all of these 30 years. So I truly want to thank my wife, Debbie, my son, James, my daughter, Amanda. I have 2 other daughters who were not able to be here tonight. My sister, Susan, my brother-in-law, George, and my nephew, Joe. Thank you for coming. Uh, 30 years is a long time. I'm ready, but I still love my job as much now as I did at the beginning 30 years ago. It's been a great honor and pleasure to serve the community of Abington Township. The one constant that has been great through all of this is the fact that we've had the same chief of police for all 30 years. And a lot of the things that I was able to do, and not just on my own, I'm up here taking the credit for a lot of this, but this was truly a team effort. Gentlemen like Butch Beal, Lieutenant Kelly Warner, way back in the beginning, helped us with all of this. Doug Wendell, before he was even the director of Parks and Rec. I mean, I could just go on and on and on. So this was truly a team effort. But it was under the leadership of Chief Kelly that made that happen, bringing community policing to Abington. And I'm really proud to be a part of that way back when. Citizens and police together is probably one of the most proudest moments, I think, because it's still here and it's still doing great things under the current leadership of Adam Reif, and I thank you for that, Adam. I'm very proud to live in Ward 12, and I'm going to continue to be here in Abington, and I'll still be volunteering and doing some other things in the community, and I just want to thank you all for the opportunity to serve this community. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Chief Kelly. We'll continue on with our agenda tonight. First, the next part, we'll start with a proclamation to honor or to observe Arbor Day. And I'll read the proclamation like we do each year. Arbor Day of observance in Abington, whereas the trees and other natural resources of Abington Township are fundamental elements in the vitality of our community, and whereas the urban forest of Abington Township provides us with the immeasurable environmental, human health, economic, educational, family, and social benefits, and whereas in the month of April, on an annual celebration of Arbor Day is held in Abington Township as part of the national observance and as a project of our Shade Tree Commission and our Environmental Advisory Council. And whereas all the people of Abington are invited to participate in our 2016 celebration and tree planting at Ardsley Community Center, Ardsley, PA, on April 23rd, beginning at 8:30 a.m. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the Abington Township Board of Commissioners that April 23rd, 2016 is designated Arbor Day. The Board issues this proclamation calling upon the people of Abington Township to observe the day by joining our celebration and by continuing to enhance the environment by planting trees in our community. Approved this 14th day of April 2016, Abington Board of Commissioners. Thank you. I'll call on Commissioner Shriver for approval of the meeting minutes.
Thank you, Vice President Klein. I'd like to make a motion to have approval of the minutes for the Board of Commissioners meeting of March 10th, 2016, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments, corrections? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Move on to Public Works, and I'll call on Director Commissioner Tom Hecker.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. The Public Works Committee has 6 items for consideration this evening. The first is PW1, which is a bid award for the 2016-2017 consortium sign bid. And this is a motion to accept the lowest responsible bids and enter into contracts with the companies listed in PW1 for the purchase of the associated materials as shown, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments by commissioners? Any comments by staff? Any comments by the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
PW2, and this is resolution number 16-015, the Monco 2040 grant application. It's a motion to adopt resolution number 16-015, authorizing the proper officials to apply for a grant for improvement at the intersection of York Road and the Fairway, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments by commissioners? Any comments by staff? Or by the audience? Name and address for the record, and please observe the 3-minute rule.
need at least 10 for this. So my question was just very short. The plan for that corner, is it on file somewhere? I don't think I've seen it yet. Do we have an entire plan made up for that corner that we're working on?
I think that's why we have
I believe this grant is looking to improve that intersection in conjunction with the walkability study that was performed by Montgomery County Planning Commission. I guess that was towards the end of last year.
Yeah, I looked back just to see if there was a
Hold on.
written plan.
Yeah, Mr. Lefebvre.
That's correct, and that plan is available online at the county website.
Right.
And where would I find it?
Montgomery County Planning Commission, and under there's a tab for walkability study.
Okay.
Any other comments from the audience? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
PW3, and this is ordinance number 2116, the Old Welsh Road Sanitary Sewer District and Sewer Assessment. And this is a motion to adopt ordinance number 2116, establishing the Old Welsh Road Sewer District, assessing the branch of sanitary sewers on Old Welsh Road, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions by commissioners? Any comments or questions by staff? Or by the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
PW4, and this is the 2015 HUD program, Tennis Avenue/North Hills Avenue/Fairview Avenue Storm Sewer Projects. And this is a motion to add Fairview Avenue and remove East Avenue from N. Abenizio Contractors Incorporated contract for the 2015 HUD program. The contract amount will remain the same, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions by commissioners? By staff? By audience? Name and address, please.
Laura Lehman, 1431 Bryant Lane. And on this particular one, did this have anything to do with the penalty that we had from HUD? None of these properties had anything to do?
No, this has nothing to do with the penalty.
Okay, so did we resolve that penalty? Did it get resolved? And for what amount did it finally get
That's not
resolved?
part of the agenda, but that has been resolved by Director Van Strother.
Okay.
And if you have any questions, you can contact through the manager's office.
Do we have a final amount?
You can contact the manager, and he can try to get you the information you're looking for.
Okay. If they know it, maybe at the end of the meeting?
Any other comments by the audience? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
PW5, the Rockwell Road Sidewalk Project, and this is a motion to approve and enter into contract with Biazzi Landscaping, LLC, for the Rockwell Road Sidewalk Project in the amount of $97,500 to be funded from fund balance, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? From staff? From audience? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, PW6, and this is the Old Welsh Road Sanitary Sewer Project. And this is a motion to approve Coyle and Lynch, LLC, to perform the appraisal review for the Old Welsh Road Sanitary Sewer Project in the amount of $56,000. And this equates to $2,000 per property times 28 properties. And this will be funded from sanitary sewer retained earnings, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'm going to ask the solicitor for an explanation or a little bit more information since we did not have a dollar value at the committee meetings.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. As you recall, at the committee meeting, we were waiting to get some clarifications back from the two companies who had provided us with bids. One, we were asking Coyle Lynch for clarification on their price, or actually a reduction on their price. And with the other appraisal company, we asked for them to shorten the time of delivery for the appraisals. Coyle Lynch did reduce their price at $56,000. They are still $2,800 higher than Indian Valley appraisals, but Indian Valley originally quoted us 120 days to deliver all of the appraisals, and they would only go down to 90 days. Coyle Lynch was originally, I forget where they were originally, but they will deliver within 45 days. Based on the time sensitivity of the project and the difference of only $2,800, and the fact that we are very familiar with Coyle Lynch because of the work they are doing for the township on Edge Hill, the recommendation was to go with Coyle Lynch at $56,000.
Thank you, Solicitor Clark. Are there any comments or questions from commissioners? Any comments or questions from staff? Any comments from the audience? Name and address, please.
Laura Lehman, Meadowbrook, and I am...
I'm sorry, what was your address?
Meadowbrook, 1431 Bryant Lane.
Thank you.
Again, in Meadowbrook. And I'm interested in trying to understand $2,000 per appraisal is high, number one. Number two, in this particular case, it's my understanding that I haven't seen the spec package, but that what we're doing is we're saying what was the house worth now and what is the house worth with sewers. And, you know, to some degree, there is a, more of a percentage that a house will increase with sewers. I've talked to a couple of people who were knowledgeable in this area. And first of all, I guess I'd like to kind of question why it's so high, when an average appraisal generally wouldn't go over maybe $1,000 even for a fairly large home. That would be an average appraisal. So that's my understanding, and substantially less for most homes. These are larger homes, but normally an appraisal would run in the $300 to $600 range, maybe $700. And so we're $2,000 for each one. And then the second thing is, what is the need to do the full appraisal when a sewer would add a certain maybe percentage value that you could look at properties that increased in value? And then the third thing would be, what is the need to have it so soon that we took the higher bid? This is actually for assessment purposes. Am I right? And I'm trying to understand what the deadline would be on that.
Are you finished with all your questions?
Well, yeah, I asked those three, and so
Okay. Well,
when I get the answers, there might be a follow-up.
This is public comment. We'll try to answer your questions, but this is not public debate. So if you're finished with all your questions, I can start to find out if we can get some answers
Well,
to that.
there's a difference
or direct you
between
to the way.
debate and a follow-up question for understanding, okay?
If you're all finished, I will get your answers, but that's going to be it.
Yeah, there's a big difference in that, and that's what I've been asking for understanding, that we have ample conversation for understanding, okay? So could they get answered?
Are you finished with all your comments?
Yeah, I don't think you heard that. Yes, I'm finished.
And please have a seat, and we'll start working on trying to get you some answers.
Can I stand up here so I can listen, and then if I don't...
Coyle Lynch.
I know of no appraisal for a benefit assessment that would be needed in this situation that would cost $300 or $400 or $500. That's maybe what it costs when you want to get your house appraised for refinancing. But when you need a full appraisal that will need to be submitted possibly to court to determine the benefit assessment, $2,000 is probably very reasonable, even probably a little bit on the low side. Secondly, the need for the appraisal is because this is a benefit assessment. The law requires us, when we are the property is going to be benefited by the installation of sewer, that we have to get a before and after value to determine what the benefit is to the property. And the third reason is why so soon, because we cannot begin to acquire the easements until we offer or until we know what the value is. We have to be complete. All the information has to be complete before we can move forward. If, in the event, one of the property owners refuses to sign and we need to move towards trying to acquire the easement through eminent domain, then we need to have this appraisal done. I think with the timetable that's been laid out by the township and the township engineer, to have these in 90 days, which would put us at the end of July, or the middle of July, I think would throw us off completely on our timetable for construction.
Thank you, Solicitor. And I think, Mike, we had talked about it, that one of the critical aspects of the time frame is that Old Welsh Road is a state highway, and PennDOT is, and I think there's going to be gas main work, or
they're going to overlay the road.
Right.
They're holding up the overlay for us to get this project completed. They've asked us to move as quickly as possible, as fast as possible, to get in and do the project. And since the project has such depths to it on the property owners' properties, is the reason why we need a better appraisal, because we're going to be 25 to 30 feet deep in some of those properties, and we're actually going to be boring through them. So we need the appraisal to include all that work, so that we have a valid appraisal when we go, if we have to go and acquire an easement.
And like with Edge Hill Tyson, we're looking to try to get somebody who specializes in easement assessment, easement appraisals. And Coyle Lynch is doing Edge Hill Tyson, and the other firm, I assume, is just as qualified.
Yes, they're a very qualified firm, but Coyle Lynch is very familiar with the surrounding area right now. As you know, they've done over 200 appraisals for Edge Hill Tyson.
Thank you. Any comments? Any other comments from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And that concludes this evening's business for the Public Works Committee.
Thank you, Commissioner Hecker. And for Code Enforcement and Land Development, I'll call on Commissioner Ben Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Tonight we have CE1, Zoning Text Amendment, Floodplain Ordinance, Ordinance Number 2117. This is a motion to adopt Ordinance Number 2117, amending Chapter 162, Zoning, at Section 600, Floodplain Conservation Overlay District, Subsection 5, Definitions, and I so move.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments from commissioners? Comments from staff? Comments from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Next, we have CE2. This is subdivision SD 1601, Daniel J. Opdyke, 821 Central Avenue. This is a motion to approve the subdivision application of Daniel J. Opdyke for the property located at 821 Central Avenue and the vacant parcel known as number 3000114640008, fronting on Cricket Avenue. The applicant proposes to relocate the shared property and add 300 feet to the vacant parcel fronting on Cricket Avenue. The vacant lot will be increased to 7,500 square feet, and 821 Central Avenue will be reduced to 13,500 square feet. Both lots will comply with the dimensional requirements of Section 303.3 of the zoning ordinance. Both parcels will be served by public water and sewer. The property is zoned in the R4 residential district in Ward Number 9 of the Township of Abington, and the motion is subject to conditions and waivers as listed in the agenda, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments from commissioners? From staff? From the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Finally, we have CE3, subdivision SD 1602, Nicholas and Shelley Schorsch, 1560 Warner Road. This is a motion to approve the subdivision application of Nicholas and Shelley Schorsch for the property located at 1560 Warner Road and the vacant parcel known as number 3000436600023, fronting on Mill Road. The applicants propose to relocate the shared property line and add 11,031 square feet to 1560 Warner Road. The vacant lot will be decreased in lot area from 8.11 acres to 7.86 acres in size. No construction is proposed, and no new building lots will be created by this application. The properties are zoned in the R1 residential district in Ward Number 1 of the Township of Abington. The motion is subject to conditions and waivers as listed in the agenda, and I so move.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments from commissioners? Comments from staff? Or from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And that concludes the business of the Code Enforcement and Land Development Committee for this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanchez. Ms. Schmidt, You signed up for code enforcement. I assume you didn't have a specific agenda item. You were going to talk at the end of the meeting?
It's about the August 13th Commissioners meeting on the ordinance that was passed, another turn.
Yeah, that would, since it's not an agenda item, it'll happen after all the agenda items have been dealt with. Okay? Thank you. For public safety, I'll call on Commissioner Schreiber.
Thank you, Vice President Klein. We have 3 agenda items this evening. PS1 is a motion to adopt ordinance number 2115, amending Chapter 156, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, Section 14, Stop Intersection, and Article 3, Parking Regulations, Section 26, Parking Prohibited During Certain Hours, and I so move.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments by commissioners? By staff? By audience? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
PS2 is a motion to advertise ordinance number 2118, amending Chapter 156, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking Regulations, Section 25, Parking Prohibited at all times, no parking between signs, no parking here to corner, parking prohibited except certain hours, no stopping or standing, for adoption at the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Commissioners on May 12, 2016 at 7:30 p.m., and I so move.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments by commissioners? By staff? By audience? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And PS3 is a conditional appointment. This is a motion to appoint candidate Alex Levy from the Certified Civil Service Eligibility List to the position of probationary police officer, provided he successfully completes the background, physical, and psychological tests and all entry requirements of the Municipal Police Officers Education and Training Commission for Act 120 training. Appointment will be effective May 2nd, 2016, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments by commissioners? By staff? By audience? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
And that concludes our agenda for this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Schreiber. For Public Affairs, I'll call on Commissioner Spiegelman.
Thank you, Vice President Klein. Tonight, Public Affairs has 5 items. The first is PA1, Resolution Number 16-016, Fair Housing. This is a motion to adopt Resolution Number 16-016, Annual Fair Housing Resolution to further fair housing practices within the Township of Abington, and I so move.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from commissioners? Comments from staff? From audience? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Item PA2, substantial amendment to the Community Development Block Grant. This is a motion to advertise the public hearing on the substantial amendment to the Community Development Block Grant scheduled for 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, July 14, 2016, in the second floor boardroom of the Abington Township Administration Building, located at 1176 Old York Road in Abington, and I so move.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments from commissioners? Staff? Audience? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Item PA3, Resolution Number 16-017, supporting the grant application to DCNR for the development of the natural resources in the Ardsley Wildlife Sanctuary. This is a motion to approve Resolution Number 16-017, which supports the application to DCNR for a grant to improve the natural habitat in the Ardsley Wildlife Sanctuary, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments from commissioners? From staff? Audience? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Item PA4, House Bill 430, PN 2947. This is a motion to request State Representative Dean's support in opposing House Bill 340 in its present format, and I so move.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments from commissioners? From staff? From audience? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Our final item, PA5, Resolution Number 16-018, supporting a grant application to DCNR for design and engineering for bike lane implementation. This is a motion to approve Resolution Number 16-018 to support an application for grant funding through DCNR to cover design and engineering expenses necessary to implement a high-priority section of the Master Bike Plan, and I so move.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. I'm going to call on Manager LaFever to give an explanation of this, since this was not on the committee agenda and has been added since.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. The board previously approved an application for a TAP grant to implement a section of the bike plan that was approved last month. That grant has a reasonable chance of being funded for approximately $450,000. There's no match for that grant, but the grant only covers construction costs. This application is for a separate grant to cover design and engineering costs associated with implementing that portion of the grant for approximately $90,000 to $100,000. I should note that we previously approved the grant on PA3 under the same grant application funding. This grant will not be in competition with that application because it will be derived from a separate pool of funds. That grant the previous grant will be funded for the C2P2. This is a separate pool of money for trail implementation. So this grant, if we do receive it, does have a match, 25% match. So basically, we're looking at a total project of $575,000, for which the township would only have to pay $25,000 to match for this grant if we are successful. Now, they're all contingent upon all the pieces falling into place, so we'll be reporting back in a future meeting to update you on the status of the grants, if they are approved.
Thank you, Manager LaFever. Are there any comments or questions from commissioners? From staff? From audience? Seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Vice President, that concludes the public affairs agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Spiegelman. I'm going to call on Assistant Director Commissioner Hecker to take care of the Finance Committee tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. The Finance Committee has 4 items of business this evening, but before we begin, I'd like to call on Township Treasurer Jay Blumenthal to give his monthly report.
Thank you, Commissioner Hecker. As for the monies put into Republic Bank from the various departments for the month of March, a total of $13,034,571 was deposited. You may have noticed also I've given some additional breakdown under the Finance Department. I've added another line called Tax Office Real Estate Taxes. So for year-to-date, last year that was $14,148,829 in totality for the month, showing a decrease of $1,114,258. Year-to-date, we have a total of $19,080,120, whereas last year, year-to-date, was $18,831,872, showing an increase of $248,248. As for the real estate taxes collected for the month, March was our second month of collection for the year, since we do not collect in January. So for the month of March, we collected $8,966,544, representing 34%. And year-to-date, we have $10,114,818, representing 38%, leaving a balance of $16,648,364, 62% still to be collected. As of March of 2015, we collected $9,939,701, which was a decrease of $973,157, which is probably just a matter of timing. Those are my reports. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Blumenthal. We'll move on to FC1, and this is expenditures/salaries and wages. And this is a motion to A, approve the February expenditures as previously circulated to the board in the amount of $1,415,396.46, and salaries and wages in the amount of $1,766,612.79, and B, authorize the proper officials to sign vouchers in the payment of bills and contracts as they mature through the month of May 2016, and I so move.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments from commissioners? Staff? Audience?
Let's do a roll call.
Laura
Name and
Lehman,
address, please.
1431. In the area of wages and salaries and so on, are there departure bonuses? Do they exist?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Departure bonuses? Upon departure, do any employees get bonuses?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So, one of my concerns was I keep hearing about employees that departed, and some of them are rumors, some of them are not. I understand Mr. Mateo is still
Please do
employed.
not use staff, please direct your comments, and please do not use staff directly, direct your comments to staff members.
Okay, I didn't
Thank you.
direct that to anybody. I was mentioning that there are
You mentioned
rumors.
Mr.
There are
Mateo.
some are rumors, but in some cases, for instance, I think Mr. Henschel has retired.
Once again, please.
What is the problem?
You're using people's names.
Do not make specific reference
Mentioning that
to
Mr.
township
Henschel has
staff.
retired? I have
You
to
can refer them as township
describe him as some...
staff. Our comment regulations are such that we do not want to use people's names. So please continue with your comments.
There's no sense to that. You can't understand what somebody's saying. I can understand that you don't want to denigrate somebody or disparage them or
Continue with your comments,
besmirch their
please.
reputation, but certainly there are certain things that can't be understood unless. So we have a staff member that departed from the zoning department, okay, has been here many, many, many years. Okay, as was a former assistant township manager. Okay, and yet, when they departed, there was no mention to the public that that person is gone. We have a new person in. There was no fanfare. There has been with some employees, and there isn't with other employees. I'm trying to understand how that works and whether it had anything to do to be tied with this. But
With what?
how does that work? How does that work that some people retire completely anonymously and quietly, and other people get given a nice send-off like
Those decisions
the
are left
officer
up to
was
staff
tonight?
members between the township manager and the department heads, and are presented to the Board of Commissioners during those board meetings. And we leave that up to the township manager's discretion and the department heads to work with him.
Well, may I comment that the public would like to know who's serving them, who's left, who's coming, and who they might address in that person's place, or what's been done, whether the position's been filled or not filled. So I think that's pretty important stuff for the public to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Are any other comments from audience?
Mr. Vice President, very briefly, the entirety of township staff are listed in, of course, every year in the township calendar, but on a far more updated basis. The current roster of township staff can be found at any given time on the township website. Thank you.
Commissioner Spiegelman. Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you.
Moving on to FC2, this is training and conference expenses. And this is a motion to approve the advance and travel expense activity for February 2016 as previously circulated to the board. Advance and travel expense reports were $0 and $2,221.33 respectively. 2-month expenses totaled $7,386.10, and I so move.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments from commissioners? From staff members? From the audience? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
FC3, Clearing Fund, Deferred Revenue, and Expense Petty Cash. This is a motion to approve the Clearing Fund, the Deferred Revenue Expense Activity, and the Petty Cash balances for the month of February as previously circulated to the board. Clearing Fund receipts and disbursements for the month of February 2016 were $622.14 and $0 respectively. Deferred revenue expense receipts and disbursements for the month of February 2016 were $368.26 and $1,028.99 respectively, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments from commissioners? Staff? Audience? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
And FC4, this is resolution number 16-008, travel policy. And this is a motion to adopt resolution number 16-008, amending resolution number 01-010 regarding travel policy, and I so move.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments from commissioners? Comments for staff? From audience? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. That concludes the Finance Committee's business.
Thank you, Commissioner Hecker, for taking care of the Finance Committee.
My pleasure.
That concludes our business. We'll entertain public comment from township residents.
May I ask what happened to the item that looks like it must have been deleted, but
You can use that as part of your comments if you'd like to come up and ask a question. Okay. Are there any comments or questions from the audience?
I have some, but I would like to know if that item that was...
Excuse me. You're out of order. If you would like to speak, you need to come up to the podium and use part of your time.
Yeah, it really is.
Name and address for the record.
Laura Lehman, still at
Address, please.
1431 Bryant Lane.
Thank
And
you.
I would like first to have 3 minutes to speak on the agenda item that is PA4 about the House bill that was discussed in committee. Somehow
voted on
I
that.
didn't hear that get
We
deleted.
voted on that.
That was moved,
That was
seconded,
Public
and
Affairs.
voted on in the Public Affairs Committee.
At the end, or did you move it?
PA4.
Item PA4.
You missed that.
Oh, I did miss it. Well, I would appreciate making a comment about that and then making my end
You have 3
comments,
minutes to make
because
your general public comments.
Accordingly.
How incredibly accommodating. Thank you. I'm so glad you're my
welcome.
commissioner. Okay. So in that particular, the request to actually ask Representative Dean to change or to protest the way the knowledge is passed on. I wanted to share. I was reprimanded at that meeting and said that when you went to executive session, you said whatever you legally were required to say. That's what the solicitor kind of admonished me and said. We say everything we need to say. It's all legal. That's what we're legally doing. And I was told by one commissioner that we're, they have to follow the law. That's what this room is about. This room is about when the law doesn't work for citizens. The citizens come up and they tell you and ask you to understand how the law is supposed to be changed. Okay? So when they come and tell you that there's this problem or that problem, they're not asking you to find out whether that's the law and they should sit down and shut up. They're asking you if you will understand what it is that they need to know and how the law is supposed to be working for them, how it might be changed. And I would like that to be the mode that happens in this room, that you understand, that you don't tell people that's what the law is, that you listen to when the law doesn't work and help them get it fixed. That's your job. You are the legislators. You make the laws in this township, and you obviously have sway over other laws. I had a lot of things that I wanted to bring up. I realize you're going to curtail them now and not allow for the fact that I missed that item, obviously, which you could do easily and accommodate. Okay? So one of the things I want you to know that I was denied the digital files in my recent right to know. That is not appropriate. The digital files, wherever they exist, are supposed to be provided, and I want you to know that your manager did not. Okay? I will see what I'm going to have to, what hoops I'll have to jump through because of that. Okay? I would like to say that there was a fire, I believe, at the Colonnade. Am I correct? Last week? Was there a fire at the Colonnade? Commissioner Klein?
You could finish your comments and I'll try
I'm
to go
asking
through.
for an answer. My comment that follows will depend on that answer. Am I
wasting your
correct that
time.
there was a fire at the Colonnade?
You're not going to bully. Stop.
Am I correct?
All your questions, we'll deal with your questions once you're finished all your
That
comments.
is unbelievably ignorant, okay? We are here to do the people's business, not to give the people a hard time. This is really unbelievable.
With all due respect, Ms. Lehman, what is unbelievably ignorant is the fact that you stand up here more regularly than any resident in this township, and you
On
continue
behalf of many of
to
those
pretend that you
residents,
don't know what the regulations are here.
On
You
behalf
want
of many
cooperation,
of those
act
residents.
professionally with this board.
On behalf
Understand
of
the
those
regulations
residents.
and act accordingly.
And when
It is
I tell you
unbelievable
that
to me.
that those regulations are not working for the residents.
I have no
we're
idea
asking
what you're
you-
talking about.
We're asking
Ms.
you to
Lehman,
change.
please complete your comments.
Well,
As we have
they
done-
were my comments
I
until I
understand.
was interrupted.
Please complete your comments as has been done before. We wait until you finish your comments, and then every one of your questions to date, to this moment in this
Yes,
meeting,
I think
have been
Commissioner-
addressed. So please ask
Commissioner
the
Hecker
rest
did
of your
not
comments. You have
understand what I
You have
just
30
said.
seconds left. Thank
That
you.
when the rules are not working, this is the place where we come to get them changed, and I am saying they're not working, and this is my time to speak, so let me finish
I wouldn't
before
do
you
that.
start. Okay? I'm sure you'll do plenty in the time that follows. Okay? Understand, Chief Kelly was in a video with
Please direct
a
him.
campaign video. There was
Please do not
an
direct
officer
your
of our
comments to
police
staff.
force
Thank
in
you.
uniform in a campaign video. I am questioning whether that is ethical and proper. Okay? I am also asking, one of the things that I'd like to know, I asked earlier and said I would ask again at the end of the meeting because I wasn't accommodated then. I would like to know what the figure is for any compensation that we had to return or any penalties or anything that went back to HUD. I'd like to know that tonight. I'd appreciate getting an answer. I saved that for the end of the meeting. Okay? And
Thank you, and your time is up, and we've given you extra time, so thank you.
I think you interrupted my time, and that's also not appropriate because residents lose their train, and they're on a tight schedule to
I
get
appreciate
things
that,
in.
but we've
It's
given you
not
at least 2
appropriate.
extra minutes, so please, thank you
It's
very
not
much. and we will-
appropriate to
We will
interrupt.
address your issues.
Thank you.
So, as far as I'm concerned, the first comment, I don't think there's a commissioner on this board that does not listen to their constituents and does not try to find out the problems that constituents have and how they how they're enforced through the township or from the state or federal government. And if there are any things that have to be changed, there have been plenty of ordinances drafted by any of the commissioners up here in the past and the current board to try to change things, and that happens all the time. I don't think there's any commissioner here that does not do that type of work and work with our state reps and our federal government representation. As far as the right to know, you have an appeal process. You can ask the right to know officer, which is our manager, the process by which to go through on an appeals. I will ask, the Colonnade, I'll ask Fire Marshal Clark to answer that question.
A week ago this evening, there was a fire call at the Colonnade. Responding firefighters found a fire in the lowest level of the Colonnade. The fire is still under investigation.
Thank you, Fire Marshal Clark. As far as Chief Kelly's representation in a commercial for a political candidate, to my knowledge, there are no moratoriums, and I'll maybe ask Manager Lefevre to address that. But as far as I know, there's no regulation against that, and that's Chief Kelly's representation on himself, not the township.
That is correct. And before appearing in that commercial, I met with Chief Kelly with the stipulation he could do so to provide the Abington Police Department was not identified specifically. There were any police vehicles be included in the commercial. So basically, it was 2 police officers walking down the street with a candidate, and without knowing Chief Kelly or the other officer personally, you were knowing they were in any way associated with Abington Township.
Thank you, Manager Lefevre. And the last comment you made, which was about the I believe it was the penalty for the HUD. If you would like, you can contact Manager Lefevre or Director Struther to get answers on that, anytime during business hours. Are there any other comments from the audience?
I'd like the public to hear it.
I'm not sure that they're in a position right now to have that information in front of them, so that is information that you can get as all public information.
That is correct. I do not have the figure off the top of my head. I don't want to speculate on the figure, but I'm happy to provide Ms. Ling with that information tomorrow.
And from my understanding, because it's been presented to the board, a fair amount of that penalty has been forgiven from HUD because of the backup paperwork that we've been able to produce. Is that correct? So, okay. Are there any other comments from the audience? Ms. Schmidt? Name and address for the record, please.
Edith Schmid, Elite Florals, 1160 Bradfield Avenue. On behalf of the brick and mortar florist, you all know why I'm here. August of last year, you passed a zone, an ordinance to protect the brick and mortar florists and other businesses from pop-up stations. Last meeting, I was informed law. Okay, so let's look at something here. Local jurisdictions are free within certain constitutional limits to establish their own standards for regulations of these non-conforming situations. Okay? There is also another law. Non-conforming use lose their legal status under regulations if they are discontinued for a period of time, such as 6 months to a year. These stands pop up, breeze in, take revenue, disappear. What I don't understand is the hard work that this board did on protecting their real businesses. On these situations, we have questions, okay? First off, these pop-up stands, are they renting space from these other businesses? Okay? Is each property owner declaring the rent on this? Okay, another clarification I need. Luke Oil, Easton Road, has a rental agreement. Luke Oil, Rockwell Road in Highland has a rental agreement. Luke Oil rental agreement on Moreland, Cindy's Dry Cleaners, and Easton Road in Brookdale. The SEPTA station in Ardsley, these all have legal rental agreements, okay? And my other questions are as follows. Each pop-up stand has a permit for each location. As I believe this board went into great detail in saying that if a permit was applied for, that each stand, if I recall correctly, and I am researching like you would not believe, that each stand would be required if this was overturned or allowed to proceed. Every stand had to have its own permit. I'd also like to know how much the permits are. Haven't found that out yet. If you guys are not willing to support your brick and mortar businesses in this township, it is really sad. You are allowing revenue to be taken. I have researched a lot of different things, and I've got a lot more coming at you. For those of you who I have sent emails to and required and asked for information, thank you. For those of you who are not here tonight, I'm hoping that the information is still coming. Permits being given. I don't understand the Grandfathering Act to begin with. All right? Everything that I have read refers to the property. Okay? I'd like to know, under the two laws that I just read to you, how it is that this commissioning board allowed this to be overturned. Okay? Mr. Pennypacker is here tonight in support, since it has been verbalized that I really am just a figurehead up here and that I have no support. So at this point in time, I would like to give the podium to Mr. Pennypacker.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Robert Pennypacker, 560 Bader Road, Jenkintown, Abington Township, and I also own property at Keswick Avenue, which is, I'm a part owner of Penny's Flowers, the property. If you'll spare me the time, I'm only going to start with a little bit of history, because I think this goes back to before the majority of you were part of the township or working for the township. But I'm roughing 30 years. It could be a little longer than 30 years ago. I came to the township basically about the same situation, because we had the same thing happening with, whether it was the exact same organization, I don't know, but we had at holidays, these people would come by for just a couple days at the different holidays, open up the stands on different properties, sell their wares, and then they were gone. At the time when I came about it, I was told, yes, they can't do it without a permit. And the question was that the permit, once we got into it, then the permit, they had to be there for a certain amount of time. They couldn't just pop up and be gone, and there was a time frame for the permit. And I'm getting old, and 35 years ago, I don't remember all the details. But again, at holiday times, you see these issues. There were several florists involved, and we're all so busy, so we can't go out and police it. You'd make a call, nobody would come. They were all busy, the police, and basically the day after the holiday, we were seeing that nobody's there. You kind of give up with these things. Just a little bit of history to understand this. This is not like we're going after anybody that's in competition. All of you know that if you go into any food store, supermarket, a lot of gas stations, Wawas, a lot of people are selling flowers and plants, which is fine. They are brick and mortar, and this is a good thing that started roughly 20, 25 years ago. The average sale to the average American was about twice a year with flowers. Europe was once a week. You changed that roughly 20, 25 years ago and got people used to working and living with flowers. It's a wonderful thing. Everybody got involved in our business, which was fine. Okay? People sold flowers. People sold plants. And that's fine, because that's legitimate competition by brick and mortar shops. But when someone comes in that basically is not a brick and mortar shop, my question is, what is there for the township, especially if there's no permit, or there wasn't back then, which I was told they had to, and if there is not record that this was done, this grandfather-in-law, I mean, as far as looking at it and trying to understand it, what I've read, it's something that is not to go on in perpetuity, to continue. It's grandfathered on certain things for a property. Now, I guess my question is, if someone never owned property here and they're just going to properties to do this, is that grandfathered? And it also states legal. It says a legal entity. If there were never permits, or if they weren't legally doing it, or if it's being done and there was not rent being paid that someone's paying tax on that rent, or whatever thing, is it legal, if we go back all these years? And something I read said the permit started in 2010, and I was in here at the township in the 80s, the early 80s, mid-80s, and I'm just trying to think, at what point does this become legal? I'll get off that point. Brick and mortar shops.
Just try to wrap up your comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
Basically, we pay the real estate taxes, we pay the mercantile taxes. What a lot of people don't know, if I deliver flowers to Philadelphia, I have to submit every year the amount of sales I had that I delivered to Philadelphia and pay a separate Philadelphia tax because we delivered flowers to Philadelphia. I mean, there's a lot of things that retailers have to do. We're also here for basically all the charities, the schools, everything where there's donations, they come to us. I don't know where these people are, for the donations. Things that are the township, police pension fund. You all got your letter this past week to donate to the police. Is there an address for these people that they are even involved in this to donate? I serve on the police pension fund. I'm vice president. And I'm just thinking, is there an address? Are these people that are really in this township? If not, why do we allow this so long? There must be a reason. There must be an income to the township. And if there's not, I would like some justification why you would do this when you've got brick and mortar shops, okay, that are contributing to the township.
All right, thank you.
Can I wrap up?
Going on 5 minutes here, so if you have...
Okay, then I've overstepped my time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Pennepacker.
Brief question. Very quick.
Okay.
I think you're setting a precedence here and that you all need to understand something. when you allow this grandfathering to happen, all your codes that you have worked so hard for, be very careful, because I believe that some people will start using the Grandfather Act, as I have heard some people say, oh, I parked my car on my lawn for years. I'm grandfathered. Please consider that very carefully.
Thank you. So I know we discussed this at the committee meetings. Commissioner Zappone, can I call on the solicitor first, or
Yeah,
do you
sure,
want to go
yeah,
first?
sure, absolutely.
Okay. I know the solicitor had looked up and was asked questions at the committee meeting, so.
Again, we did discuss it at the last meeting. I think a couple of points were made that I would, if it's all right with the board, I would respond to. The question regarding legal entity, pre-existing non-conforming uses don't apply to an illegal business. You can't claim that you've been selling illegal fireworks out of a store, a back room of a store for the last 25 years, so you can continue to do it because it's a pre-existing non-conforming use. So when they say it needs to be a legal purpose or a legal operation, that's what they're talking about. If something is an illegal business, you can't say it's a pre-existing non-conforming use. The two other issues I think that are important to raise is the one that was raised by the first speaker, where she says that there are limitations that you can place on this within certain constitutional limits. And that is the key phrase here, because with a pre-existing non-conforming use, a property owner, or in this case, both the property owner and the person using the property, has acquired a property right. If you attempt to restrict that property right or to take away that property right by legislative action, then that can be considered a de facto taking, and it is compensable to that property owner or property owners. And so what you could be looking at is not just a situation where you were paying damages, but then you're going to get a court to say they're allowed to continue this pre-existing non-conforming use. So you, within the constitutional limits, as was referenced by the first speaker, those constitutional limits are you cannot take away somebody's property right by legislative action. The second comment was the idea of the 6 months to a year. Proving abandonment of a pre-existing non-conforming use is not just that you are not operating that particular use for a particular period of time. If it is a seasonal use or if it is a temporary use, if you continue to use that during those same seasonal or period of times, then it is not considered an abandonment. Abandonment of a pre-existing non-conforming use, while it is not a high standard, it is a particular standard, and a particular standard based on facts, which everything we have here does not seem to indicate that these people have abandoned this pre-existing non-conforming use.
Thank you, Solicitor Clark. Commissioner Zappone?
Yeah, I just have two questions. I don't know if anybody's from code here, but were permits issued? And if they were, I'd like to have copies of my package tomorrow. And also, did they pay their taxes already? Were those taxes paid from the last event, the last, like Easter? Did those folks come in and pay their taxes?
Those will be filed by April 15th of 2017, because that's in the calendar year of 16.
And I guess if I can follow up on that, Commissioner Zappone, to your knowledge, Treasurer Blumenthal? Yeah.
What is your question, Commissioner?
To your knowledge, that some of these, or at least the ones that have licenses, or some of these temporary sales, from your knowledge, have business licenses?
They do.
And the property owners that are leasing the space for these temporary sales, are they paying BPT tax on the rental income?
That I do not know.
Okay. But they're required to? Is that they're required to?
They would be required to. Let's say it's a Luke Oil, and the Luke Oil just sells gasoline and has the retail outlet. Some of them do, some of them might not. That's retail, so they would be required, if they are receiving rental income, to report the rental income.
Right.
I'd have to look at each individual Luke Oil to see if they were.
Thank you.
And incidentally, they are up to date currently with their filings. If I'm not 100% positive that 2015 has been sent in yet for last year, but it may be in our humongous pile of mail, but they have been current in past years.
I have
think I brought this up last year or the year before, and I guess there's no way of tracking this, which I find kind of bizarre. It's a cash business, okay? So they can make $1,000 in one spot a day and come in and say they only made $100. How do we track that? How is that done?
That's nigh unto impossible. I have over 3,000 accounts. Some of them are rental income properties, others are retail, some are service. There's no way I could audit every one of them to make sure they were showing all their cash. Normally what we do is we go by their copy of their business schedule that is attached, that's attached with the federal tax return. But we'd have to audit everybody to see if they're reporting all their income. That's pretty hard to do.
Commissioner Gillespie?
That was the same question.
Okay. All right. Are there any other comments from the audience? Public comment from the audience? I'm sorry, sir, we've afforded you the time. Thank you. Are there any other comments? We'll take comments, general comments from commissioners, and I'll start with Commissioner Zappone.
Just a reminder to my residents, the second annual Ardsley Family Day Designer Bag Bingo will be held on April 22nd at the North Penn VFW. Doors will be opening at 6, and my residents can contact me for tickets. Also, the fourth annual Ardsley Family Oldies Night will be held on May 20th at the North Penn VFW from 7 to 11, and also my residents can contact me for tickets. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Zappone. Commissioner Spiegelman?
Yes, 2 items, Mr. Vice President. First, I wanted to personally thank Commissioner Hecker for his very astute observations and comments during the public comment section. I want you to know I personally appreciated them. And second, I know Detective Almond is no longer here in the room, but hopefully Chief Kelly and the other members of the police command staff will pass along to him what I'm going to say. Chief Kelly, you frequently talk about the Abington way of policing, and I cannot think of a better person to have represented the Abington way of policing as a school resource officer in the junior and senior high than Bob Almond. He's a person that I first met and knew about long before I got involved in public life from my wife, who, of course, is taught for a couple of decades now at the junior and senior high. And he's not only certainly fostered an atmosphere of safety and security, but also one of trust, one of community, one of connectedness and responsibility. And so I didn't get a chance to embarrass him in public, but I hope you pass along to him my thanks, not only for protecting, but also fostering all of that for my wife, her students, her colleagues, and generations of students and teachers at the junior and senior high. He's the definition of good people. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Spiegelman. Commissioner Sanchez?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. No comments this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanchez. Commissioner Rothman?
Yes, very briefly. He's gone, but please pass on my regards to Detective Allman. He did an extensive amount of work with the family whose house was lost in a fire on Martin Luther King Day, which is in my ward. And I've thanked him before, but I think it's fair to publicly acknowledge how hard he worked to help that family and continues to work to help that family. I'd like to invite the public to an Earth Day event that's April 21st coming up on the corner of Commissioner Sanchez's street. We'll be starting out at Evergreen and Jenkintown Road. It's sponsored by Commissioner Sanchez, myself, and our county controller, Karen Sanchez. An Earth Day cleanup in the area right around there, and the Abington Art Center as well. And finally, speaking of the Abington Art Center, there's a new maker space over there, collaboration with Penn State Abington. The big day that they have coming up is May 22nd, which is a community day. So we'd like to invite everybody in the community to come check out the amazing things going on over there. But also on Wednesday evenings from 7 to 9, on April 13, 27, and May 11th are specific training sessions that the public can come and see the new technology we have there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rothman. Commissioner Myers?
Thank you.
I'm not really one to always thank the staff, but I would like to acknowledge Mike Powers, who has done a terrific job of engineering at Twin Brooks Pond. The work is going on now, and the channel is being widened, and the pond is being extended, and the people that will benefit from that are all of the neighbors on Fitzwatertown Road, and they will benefit, Mike, the next time it rains very hard. So we're very appreciative of the work that you've done, that Tim has done, and I can't stress enough how important it is to have an in-house engineering department and to have an engineer that knows this township like the back of his hand, and I'm very grateful for that.
Thank you, Commissioner Myers. Commissioner Markman?
No comment.
Thank you, Commissioner Markman. Commissioner Shriver?
Just a quick announcement. Our Roslyn Valley Business Association, which usually meets on Thursday mornings, is going to have an evening meeting for people who are not able to make it during the morning time. So this meeting is coming up Monday, April 18th at 7 p.m. at the Boys and Girls Club. And it's going to be immediately followed at 8 o'clock with a meeting for the Roslyn Community Day. So we still want more people to get involved with both of those. Everybody's welcome. Again, it's the Roslyn Valley Business Association followed by the Roslyn Valley Community Day meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shriver. Commissioner Bowman?
No comment, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bowman. Commissioner DePlacido?
Thank you, Vice President Klein. I do want to thank a couple staff members today. Director Wendell, please extend my thank you to all your staff for getting our fields ready for East Abington Little League. They looked great. We were ready to go, but Tuesday it rained, so we'll have to give it another shot on Saturday, but please, they look fantastic. Thank you for all your help with that. And the softball field is exceptional. Yes, thank you. No complaints from me this year so far. I'd also like to thank Director Michelot. One, thank you for brightening my life at night. You've changed all the lights on my street, and I've gotten some, not complaints, but comments from neighbors. I just told them to wear sunglasses until your eyes adjust, and they have. So thank you very much for changing those lights out. It's a big change. And another thing, too, thank you for allowing me to call you and answering the phone on 9:30 on a Sunday night to help cut down a tree in the middle of Township Line Road. It was necessary. It stayed there. Pico, Verizon, Comcast played the blame game, and Abington took over and got it out there right before rush hour. So thank you very much. And when driving down that busy road of Township Line, please drive like your kids live here.
Thank you, Commissioner DePlacido. Senor Farron?
Muchas gracias. Thank you, Commissioner Klein. I was struck by the Eagle Scouts. The amount of work that goes into those is absolutely incredible, and it's inspiring to see. And as someone who works in high school and generally works with teenage boys, for them to be that focused and that dedicated for that long should absolutely be commended every time. I'm very happy that Officer Ahmed was in Ward 12. I'm very proud to have had him serve in Abington from our neighborhood. I wanted to give a brief congratulations to Commissioner Gillespie for a successful Keep the Parade running 5K, which is in and of itself supporting, as great of an event as it is to get people out and running and being healthy, it supports the parade on the 4th of July in Abington. And I'm struck by the sense of civic duty of all four of those things. Our Eagle Scouts, Officer Ahmed, and all the work he did in our police force in general, the 5K and supporting the parade. And at the risk of pandering with some of our business owners here, as I think we all do up here, are constantly encouraging our residents to buy local, to go into our neighborhoods, to go into our communities, because I think we do recognize the value of those brick and mortar shops and all that they do, whether it's Penny's Flowers, which I know has been providing jobs for my neighbors for the past 30-some years, or the new places popping up, Bernie's and Dino's Backstage, which will be employing our residents and our neighbors and some of our children. All of that is very, very important for who we are as separate communities and who we are as a single, cohesive community. So as a citizen, part of our civic duty is to support those, and I hope that we continue to do that. In that same vein, I just want to put the word out there that the Run with Pride 5K is June 11th. This is a 5K that supports the Kevin Flack Scholarship, which for those who don't know is an academic scholarship for families who need some financial support to provide their sons and daughters their education that they're looking to pursue. So if you can get out there on June 11th, another great 5K in Abington. And finally, I want to thank all of our township staff on behalf of the Turner family. Once again, the Just Fight Foundation we have had incredible support in the neighborhood and Abington-wide. Whether it was basically our entire code office came out to the house. They need to put an addition on Alia's home now, which is phenomenal, but there's going to be a lot of challenges, and part of that is making it a livable space. Basically, the code office came out and worked with the family. When Alia came home, and I can't thank enough our police force, our township fire department, our second alarmers, they basically gave her a guided entourage home into the house. We had the fire trucks there. We had a couple canine dogs there. Alia was a big fan of pets. In particular, Officer Posey and Freed, I think Lieutenant Malloy was there as well. It was an incredible homecoming. It was overwhelming for the family to be able to come home to that kind of support, not just from neighbors, but from kind of institutional Abington, who, for many of those second alarmers and firefighters, the last time they were at that house was for almost a tragedy. So to be there for such a celebratory evening and welcoming home was very supportive. There's a long way to go, but they feel very heartened by that kind of response. And I want to thank Doug Wendell. We had talked a while ago about getting AED devices because of the value of CPR and that in saving Ali's life. He's already moving on it. We're putting AEDs at the pool in Penbryn.
Thank you for the safety grant.
Safety grant to Mr. Mikola. Thank you for that. And moving on it already. So a lot of things we don't have to ask. We have such people involved in the benefit of our neighborhood that they're already working on it. And I want to thank you on behalf of them. I want to thank you from me and my neighbors. And I want to thank everybody up here. It's very much appreciated and very much taken into heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Farron. Commissioner Gillespie?
Sure, thank you. I, of course, want to congratulate Bob Almond. I've known him a long time, and it's just amazing to see 30 years have gone by already, so I wish him all the best, of course. And the Eagle Scouts, they are wonderful. There's two troops, actually, they're right on my street, and the two churches, St. Luke's and St. Paul's. They have these fantastic young people that are becoming Eagle Scouts. Of course, the parents help a lot, and I'm just always so proud of them, and I love to go to their ceremonies. It is just really heartwarming. Also, thank you to everyone that participated. I knew the weather was going to be fine on Saturday. Stepped outside the VFW after the presentation of the awards, and it started snowing. I had said, Mikey, this is in your name. You better not snow, and it better not rain. I basically say that every year, not about snow, but usually rain. And so it was a great event. People did come out. They really, they just moved forward. It was very positive, and next year it'll be even better. Thank you to the police department. We always have a lot of volunteers from there. The special police come out, and all the other volunteers that are just local. It's a great community, so thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner Gillespie. Commissioner Hecker?
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. Two things I'd like to mention. So tonight marked another step in helping to make real the promise of improved pedestrian safety on Rockwell Road. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank the township staff, including Larry Mateo, Ed Micolo, Mike Powers, Township Manager Michael Lefevre, the police department, and my fellow commissioners. We have been working on this issue for almost 17 months now. And to my view, this is what we're supposed to do. My residents had a need, and I needed your help. And we came together, and through our cooperative work, we're going to make people's lives better. So I am deeply grateful to everyone involved. So thank you. Secondly, I wanted to take a moment to thank Ed Micolo and Angelo. I have had multiple positive messages this week from the residents on Bacchius Avenue related to the repaving work that began late last week and early this week. Not just for the work being done, but for the professionalism displayed by the crew who were out there taking the time to talk to the residents about how it was happening, how long it was going to happen, and what they needed to do to be inconvenienced less. And so it's a real credit to the folks who were out there. They did a great job. Thank you.
Thank Angelo, because he really did a
He's not here. I would thank him, too.
Thank you, Commissioner Hecker. Commissioner Kalinowski?
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. Congratulations to Chief Kelly. Great job in getting the shooter at the 7-Eleven at Limekiln Pike in Ward 6. I really appreciate that. Our residents are feeling a lot safer now, and that was done quickly and very well professionally handled. A few of the residents and I are working on a Welcome Home celebration fundraiser on May 15th for the victim from 2 to 6 at the North Penn VFW. So if anybody be interested in being a part of that or getting involved, you're more than welcome. And to say I was honored to meet Bob Ullman many years and work with him on many events is an understatement. He's a great guy and continues always to be a great person in my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kalinowski. And I just have one brief comment. I've had to deal with some family health issues, and I wanted to pass along, and I know how difficult it is, and I just wanted to pass on all good wishes. I know there's some extended family, staff members in the township that are dealing with some recent health issues, and I just want to pass on good wishes to them and to any board member that's in the same boat. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion adjourned. Thank you. Have a good night.
I think it would be appropriate to say I really want to thank Commissioner Ben Sanchez